Hey friends, what's up? Well, you're welcome back to the Bed with Ben Hine podcast, the first episode for 2026. Ooh, I'm so excited. Okay, let me just say that because I am having a late start to my year. So if you're having a late start to your year as well, then this is probably the episode for you. In this episode, I just want us to reflect. Now, before I even get in, let me just say that if you're tuning in for the very first time, this is Bed with Ben Hine. This is a podcast that allows us to have open and honest conversation, basically allows you to find a good flow for your life as a millennial. Okay, I love to have conversations that are real, conversations that allows you to reflect on life, conversations that allows you to know that you're grounded, that you're grateful, just all the good things. It's just all good vibes. Okay, and this year I feel a lot more broader. Let me just say that we are going on a broader scale this year, so the topics are going to be much wider. It started off as a self-help type of channel, I'm not gonna lie, type of podcast. I did really want to do just self-help, things that help the everyday woman find themselves, find peace, find pockets of peace in their daily activities, just overall conversations that are real, conversations that people can relate to, and just sharing the things that I'm learning in life with you guys, right? But for me, this year, 2025 opened my eye to a whole different level that I want to take the podcast. And so that is the level that I'm at right now. So be sure to subscribe, stay with us, grow with us, because we're growing. We're a baby channel and we're growing. So be sure to stay with us and grow with us. Now, let's just get into what we're talking about today, because we need to kickstart the year right. Okay, we need to do 2026 right. If you're having a late start to your year, then you're right there with me, because I am having a late start to my year as well. 2026, we're easing into the new year. So if you started off your year, but you still feel like, I haven't started off the year, January always kind of feels a little off sometimes. And, sometimes you might have all the plan ready in January to go, but then sometimes you just may not. Sometimes you just feel blank. Sometimes you just don't have a plan. And going into February, that's where you start to get a hang of it. That's where you start to feel like, you know what? I feel like I'm ready to start the year. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So if you're in that frame of mind, if you just cruise through January without no pressure, just allowing yourself to ease into the new year without setting any big goals, then this is the episode for you. Because in this episode, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be asking myself 6 questions that I feel like will help me have a good 2026. And I want you to do this with me. It's just like a reflection for me. I'm like, yeah, I'm having a late start to the year, but it's still okay. It's still okay. I'm not in competition with anybody. So I'm just going to take my time and do some reflection. Talking about reflection, I literally just did my mood board sometime, maybe 2 days ago, and it felt so good. I haven't done my mood board in so long. But then I said, you know what? I feel like 2026, I want to have a mood board. And I've always believed in having a vision board. Let me correct that. Vision board is what I'm trying to say, which is also a mood board for the year, which is what I would want to call it. That is the mood that I want to go into the year with. Telling myself that these are the things that realistically, I'm just going to say that, because I know that sometimes, or everybody, when you're doing a vision board, people usually will do a vision board and it's like all the things that they want to achieve, where sometimes it's out of reach. But in this case, I am entreating you to do a vision board of all the things that you know that you can achieve. How about that? All the things that realistically, you know that if I put in some energy here and there, if I put in some work here and there, if I put in some investment here and there, I can reach this. How about you do that to your vision board? And then at the end of the year, you look at the vision board and it's things that you have actually worked towards, things that you've actually achieved. I feel like that makes a lot more sense. And then in between, I will put some big goals that I have that I might carry on for the next few years, and that's okay. But I feel like a vision board generally, or majority of your vision board should be things that you know for a fact that you can achieve, things that you know that you can work towards. Even if you're not able to hit that crazy big goal, you know that's putting in a few steps got you somewhere, and you can quantify it at the end of the day. That's what I'm talking about. But I'm not here to talk about a vision board, but I'm just saying I did my vision board a few days ago and that felt very good. And that's just to say, you don't really have to have it all figured out by 1st January. No, it's literally what is today's date? The 26th. And I've just done my vision board and I feel so good about it. I feel like, okay, I'm ready to go. And it's been almost a month, So if that doesn't tell you something, like, you really don't have to put pressure on yourself to have it all figured out before the year starts, or to have some crazy plans, going into the new year. easing into the new year, I have found that really does help. And so again, I know I'm so passionate about this, but let's just get into the questions that I have. Let's just get into, the questions that I have that can help us reflect on how 2026 could possibly be, because I am excited for this year. Now, the first question that I'm asking myself is, what did 2025 teach me about myself? That's a good question, okay? 2025 definitely taught me that I was a lot more patient than I thought that I was. I truly did think that I didn't, and I still kind of think like that. I still feel like I don't have the patience for a lot of things, but 2025 needed me to be patient. It taught me to be patient. There were things that were just out of my control, and I had no option than to be patient. I had no option than to be hopeful and just wait and pray that the thing turns out how I needed to turn out. And that taught me a lot about myself. And so I'm asking you, or you can just write it in your notepad. This is a good time to grab some sort of notepad, or just on your phone. You can quickly write it down. What did 2025 teach you about yourself? Let me drink some water. And then I think another thing that 2025 taught me about myself was as a woman, I felt like I had learned so much about myself. I felt like I was a woman, but 2025 taught me that no, I'm like cocooning. I feel like I'm still going through the metamorphosis of life as a woman. I feel like I'm still maturing. I'm still growing. I just felt like I was grown before 2025. There's still so much to learn about myself, about life, about the life that I want to live, about the woman that I want to become. And 2025 just overall taught me that I still had so much growing to do. Let me just say that. That is literally what it is. 2025 taught me that you could never really stop growing. You could never really finish the process. I guess I never really thought that I was done with the process of growing. But I don't know, I just felt like I had learned a lot, that, I was okay with myself. But 2025 taught me that no, I hadn't learned nothing. I didn't know a lot. 2025 challenged me in ways that I possibly didn't think I could be challenged. And that's what I'm talking about. If I say I'm going to go on, I'm going to go on and on about the things that I learned about myself in 2025. It was a life-changing year for me. It was a year that brought a lot into my life and taught me a lot about myself as a person. So again, I'm asking you, what did 2025 teach you about yourself? Now, question number 2 that I want to ask myself is, what am I proud of? What am I proud of when it comes to myself? Even if nobody noticed that thing, what is that one thing that I'm proud of in 2025 that I did? And I'm going to say, just pushing through the year, 2025, I need a push gift, okay? I need a push present for just pushing. And I'm sure everybody else will say that. Everybody probably just pushed through 2025. It was a year. It was such a year. And so I would just say overall, not giving up, because I had a lot of days where I was just so worn out. I was just so tired. I was just running on fumes, running on a few hours of sleep sometimes. I was just tired. So that's what I was saying. 2025 taught me that I was a lot more patient than I thought I was. And I guess the one thing that I'm proud of when it comes to 2025 overall is just me being able to push through it without giving up. 2025, I really almost gave up on doing content. This is just me being real, raw, and honest. Okay, I really almost gave up on doing content. But shout out to me for not giving up. Shout out to me for remembering why I started doing my content, because my content has always been such a baby to me. Okay, I had so much love for what I do on social media. I'm not even gonna lie. I love being able to use my voice to talk, I just love what I do on social media. I guess I'm just proud of myself for pushing through the year, proud of myself for, pairing work with motherhood and traveling for work and just keeping sane through it all and not crushing. For that, I am proud of myself. Let me just say that. So ask yourself, what are you proud of yourself for? What in 2025 made you feel proud, even if no one was watching? I need to say that. It doesn't have to be a loud win. It doesn't really matter, okay? It could be anything that you feel like you're definitely proud of. Go ahead and write that down, okay? And see how you could push that into 2026 and make yourself even prouder. Now, question number 3 is pretty much the opposite of question number 2. What is that one thing that you're not so proud of yourself for, so you know that you're not taking into this year? Let me just say that. What is the one thing that you know you're not carrying into 2026 just because you didn't really like it in 2025? Could be a habit. It could be, I will say mine so it gives you an idea. Over explaining yourself. I found in 2025, I became more aware. I mean, I kind of knew that I did that. I guess it stems from a place of just being a people pleaser. Being a people pleaser also stems from being cheered on a lot for everything you pretty much did as a kid. And that would be growing up, pretty much everything anything that you did, they gave you some sort of remarks for pretty much everything. Like, so everything that I do, I expected that someone would say something about it. And that obviously leads into people pleasing, because then you want to do a lot more things that get people saying stuff. And so in business, I'm trying to learn more about myself, girl. I am learning a lot. Let me tell you that. Now, being a people pleaser, another branch from that is over explaining yourself, because sometimes you feel like you just need to explain to the extent where people fully get you, or sometimes you just feel like people just don't get you. So you have to keep explaining and trying to find different ways to get your point across. And I found that that is not just a branch of being a people pleaser, but also a branch of not being a good communicator. So last year just taught me a lot about myself, I'm not gonna lie. But the one thing that I guess became more apparent to me was just having that habit of over explaining myself. So towards the end of last year, one thing that I would do is, and even though it sounds a little nonchalant, I would just say, I don't care. If you don't get me, I don't care. And even though it sounds nonchalant, again, that is the attitude that I have to pick to be able to not over explain myself when I don't need to. And sometimes in certain situations, you need to explain yourself, or you just need to make sure that you're getting your point across, but you don't always need to do that. And I've come to learn that the hard way, or I guess I've just come to learn that you don't always have to try to get your points across. You don't always have to try to let people understand you. Let people understand you however they want to understand you. And if they have questions, they can always follow up with questions. And I've come to learn that. And so that's one thing that I'm certainly not going into 2026 with. I'm not over explaining myself. If I do something and you don't get it, you just don't get it. And if you have questions, you can ask me. And if you don't ask me the questions, then you just live with that uncertainty, because I'm not about to bother myself with the fact that you don't get what I'm doing or saying. You know what I mean? And it feels really good. It feels very liberating. So I need you to ask yourself this. What is that one thing that you don't want to go into 2026 with? Like, is it your lack of routine, your lack of discipline? You need to ask yourself this question. It could be a couple of things that you might be writing down. And I know, because I am writing a couple of things down that I'm not going into this year with. So ask yourself the same question. Again, 2025 was such an eye-opener year. And if you are able to sit down and just give yourself a few moments to pause and reflect, you will get that answer. You will get a few things that you certainly don't want to go into this year with. So ask yourself. Now, question number 4 that I want to ask myself, and I want to ask you, is when do I feel most like myself? Like, which moments in 2025 made me feel like 100% myself, like 100% feel home, 100% comfortable, grounded, calm? And I like this question because this is where you want to think of the moments that you want more of in this year. So all the good times that you had in 2025, the times where you felt like, oh my God, I feel so good. I feel so at home with this group of people. I feel so at home doing this thing. I feel so in tune with myself. I feel like I've reconnected with my inner child. These are the questions, like these are the things that you want to be looking at. Okay, look at these moments. When were the times where you felt most like yourself? When were the times where you felt like, oh my God, this feels so good. I want more of this. And that's what I'm asking. And I know that I love this question because 2025 was a time where I had a lot more time with family, because I went home, reconnected back with my roots. Oh my goodness, that was such a good trip. Let me just say that. It was something that refueled me in ways that I didn't know that I needed. And so looking at that, I said to myself, I want more time with family. I want to spend more time with the people that I actually love, the people who actually love me back. And that's family. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't, like moving to a new country and having your family in all parts of the world can be very tough. But just having a moment where you guys come together and just sit together and have a good time and chit chat and just catch up feels really good, feels really good for the soul. Or at least it felt really good for my soul. And I want more of that. You know what I'm saying? So I know that coming into 2026, I want to spend more time with the people that I love. I want to do more things with the people who I call family. And family for me is not only blood related. I have people who I've known for a long time who have become family, and I love spending time with them. They just make me feel good. They just make me feel at home. They just make me feel so connected to my inner child. Another thing I've come to realize is just doing like playing with my kids and just being a kid, just allowing myself to be free. And oh my goodness, I have come to realize that just makes me feel so happy. Doing activities with my kids that I used to do when I was young, so nostalgic, and it feels so good. So I want more of that. So this year, I'm just gonna keep myself grounded, do a lot more things with family, do a lot more things with the people that make me feel so lightweight, go out with my girlfriends if I need to, because I've realized that I love that too. Just having a little girl time, going for dinner, drinking some unwind. It really does make me feel good. So I want to do a lot more of that. Just overall things that gives me more calm, things that makes me more grounded, just things that makes me more at home. That's what I want to do. So I want you to ask yourself these questions. What are some of the things that you did in 2025 that made you feel a lot like yourself? And so you definitely would want to do a lot more of that in 2026, because why not? Why wouldn't you want to have an even softer 2026 if it felt good in 2025? So something to think about, okay? Now, question number 5 is, what are the things that you actually need to do? What are the systems that you actually need to set in place to get the year going? You know what I'm saying? What are some of the things that you realize that you didn't do so much of, and so you need to put in place? You need to have structure built on those things to have a better 2026. And for me, that would be rest. I have such a struggle when it comes to the concept of just resting. If it's not late nights, I am not sleeping. Okay, if I'm not done, if it's not PM, okay, if it has to be 8 p.m, 9 p.m, 10 p.m, like it has to be a PM, because I'm not sleeping. You know what I'm saying? And I've come to realize that that's not good. You need to have times where you're just resting, being a couch potato, watching a movie and not doing anything. And that's tough for me to comprehend. My brain is just, she said no. But I've come to realize that I need to build a structure that allows me to rest, because I need that. My body needs that. I need that as a mom. I need that as a working mom. I need that as an overall human. You just need rest. And so I need to build structure when it comes to rest. I also fell off on my workouts and my well-being, overall well-being routine, just trying to be in charge of what I eat, what is going into my body. I used to have a lot more structure on that. For whatever reason, I just fell off. I don't know what happened, but I fell off. And so 2025 taught me that you probably didn't have a proper structure in place. So now I know I need to build a structure that I can actually live with, a structure that makes sense with my life, and not a structure that puts pressure on me to just try to keep up with being fit. You know what I'm saying? Being fit has to be a lifestyle. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I need that discipline. I need that structure. So ask yourself, what are the things that you need to do this year? You know, like what are the structures that you need to put in place? Things that you didn't do 2025, okay? Things that you fell short on in 2025 that you know that I need discipline in this area. I need, like, you need to be real with yourself. Sometimes nobody's going to be real with you than yourself. Child, if you don't tell yourself the truth, sometimes nobody will tell you. So I have told myself the truth. I know what I need to do to get my life going. And so I'm asking you the same thing. Write it down in your book. You don't need to tell me. You don't need to tell me. Just go ahead and write it in a book. Write it down. It helps you reflect. So, and as part of that, let me just say, if you were tough on yourself in 2025, you probably want to write down giving yourself some grace, okay? Because I know some of us are very tough on ourselves, especially at this age. If you're a millennial in your 30s, sometimes you just feel so much pressure to have achieved things or to have done things at a certain age. And so if you gave yourself pressure in 2025, if you didn't give yourself grace, if you didn't give yourself some softness, please write it down, because you need to give yourself grace. You need to give yourself that grace, because if you don't give yourself the grace, who would? You know what I mean? So I needed to add that, because sometimes it's not just about building structure and building discipline, and sometimes it's also about softness. Sometimes it's also about just giving yourself grace and just being compassionate with yourself and kind to yourself as a person, because you need to be able to give yourself that kindness to have other people give it to you. Okay, so if you didn't give yourself as much grace in 2025, add it to the list. Give yourself grace. And then the last question that I'm going to ask myself, which I also want you to ask yourself, is if I moved through this year, okay, if I moved through 2026 gently but with intention, how is the year going to look for me? Ask yourself that question. If I want to move through 2026, if I decide that I'll move through 2026 with ease, with grace, with softness, but also with intention, how is that year going to look like? That is such a beautiful question. And that is a question that allows you to take the pressure off of yourself. And that is exactly the goal for this episode. I need you to ease into 2026 with that question. Ask yourself. And I'm going to say, if I move through this year gently, but with intention, it will look a little something like waking up in the morning, having a morning routine as a mom, having a few minutes for myself, getting myself ready before I get the kids ready. I realize that I really like that. It helps me to ease into the morning. It helps me to ease into the day. And 2026 is all about ease and grace. So that's how I would start my morning. And then I get the kids out of bed, get them prepped, get them ready for school, get myself ready, head out, go to work, get to work, focus only on work, set some goals for the day for work, and focus on work that I have to do, not distract myself with anything that is not work related. Come back home, spend time with the kids, do some workout in the gym because I have a gym membership. Hello, because I'm taking care of my well-being. Thank you. Okay. And then I come do some schoolwork with the kid, do some activities with the kid, set out a few minutes, edit some videos because I'm dedicating time to being consistent with my content and being intentional, having some time to prep for the next day because I am building discipline and structure and making sure that I make the best out of my day as a mom, as a working mom, as a millennial, as a content creator, and going to bed on time just so I can wake up the next day feeling refreshed. Ooh, that sounds like a good day. That sounds like a good 2026. Going through the year with intention, one day at a time, gently, not putting pressure on yourself to be racing because it is not a race. Okay? That's all I'm gonna say. So I need you to remember this. You don't need a perfect January or a perfect line to have a meaningful year. Clarity comes with honesty. Let me just say that. Having a clear goal, it just comes with being honest with yourself as a person. You need to move with intention. You need to just make sure that you're going through the year with your intentions set. Just breaking it down into daily goals that you know that you can very much achieve and moving through it with intention. Wake up with the intention to be a better version than you were the day before, than you were the year before. And trust me, that is how you're going to have a good 2026. And this exercise that we've just done on this episode, that is exactly how you set the tone for 2026. You have just done that work. You have just set the pace. Just by doing this exercise with me, if you answer the questions in honesty, it will give you the perfect reflection for you for 2026. And I love that. And let me just add that you can always come back to this episode whenever you feel off, whenever you feel like you need a quick reset, whenever you feel like you need a quick reflection to do. Come back to this episode, answer the questions again, make sure that you're still on track. And trust me, 2026 is going to be an amazing year for you. Okay? I'm excited for what this year is going to look like for all of us. Thank you so much for taking time to sit with me today. If this episode did anything for you, it helped you, it gave you that reflection that you were looking for, please be sure to share it with someone who also needs a reset. Okay? Someone who's also having a late start to their year and just needs a quick pick me up. Share it with them and let them know that it's never too late because you don't need a perfect plan to start the year. You just need to set your intention. Okay? So I hope this episode helps. Bye.
When they say she get it from her mama, I'ma say you fuck her right. Her body rude as polite. Tell me in the hall, tell me is you down? Cause I'm trying to go up tonight. Holding hope she slept right. I just wanna live in a fantasy. I think we deserve